what I wanted to share tonight was from Ephesians chapter 6, if you want to turn there with me. And this was very encouraging to me as I read it the other day. It says in Ephesians chapter 6, in verse 5, it says, "Slaves, be obedient to your masters according to the flesh with fear and trembling and sincerity of your heart as to Christ, not by way of eye servants as man pleasers, but as slaves of Christ, doing the will of God from the heart. With good will render service as to the Lord and not to men, knowing whatever good thing each one does, he will receive back from the Lord, whether slave or free." And this really encouraged me. I think we can probably all see ourselves in this passage a little bit. When we see slaves, we can think about slaves as an extreme example of a worker. It says, in verse 8, he'll receive back from the Lord, whether slave or free. So we can see he's talking to more than just slaves, but to me, what's amazing is the whole passage is, even in the worst situation where you're compelled to labor that you don't want to do against your will, yet this is true. If it's true for that person, how much more is it true for those of us who aren't forced to labor against our will? This verse holds an incredible promise for anyone who works. And it's verse 8. "Knowing that whatever good thing each," we could say, "worker does, this he will receive back from the Lord, whether slave or free." And what I took from that very simply, and I wanted to encourage you brothers with this, the very simple thought that there will be rewards in heaven for secular work done well. That is such a relief and encouragement to me, to someone who for so long has seen secular work as a distraction, or at the very least is detracting from God's true purpose. God has a true purpose, for my life, but my work, it's easy to think my work is just this, it's kind of getting in the way. And if I could just get work out of the way, then I could really enter into God's purpose. And yet what it says here is, whatever good thing each one does, he will receive back from the Lord. And it's speaking in regards to our even slaves. How much more you and me? And the question is, what makes my work good? It says, whatever good thing each one does, he'll receive back from the Lord. So if I want that reward for good work, what makes my work good? And what spoke to my heart is just from this same passage in the verse previous. It says, "With goodwill render service as to the Lord and not to men." With goodwill. And that word goodwill stood out to me. I actually looked it up. You know what goodwill means? This is the definition I found challenging. It means friendly, helpful, cooperative feelings. With friendly, helpful, cooperative feelings, render service in your job. And when I read that, that challenged me, because to see that that's what makes what I do in the context of my work good in the eyes of the Lord. It's my attitude when undertaking ordinary responsibilities. What is my attitude? Do I fulfill my normal day-to-day duties with friendly, helpful, cooperative feelings? That challenged me. There can be an attitude of entitlement. There can be an attitude of hoping I'm not the one who gets chosen to do something, or an attitude of, there can be all sorts of things that compete with friendly, helpful, cooperative feelings. And so that's the attitude with which I do my work. And then the second part of what makes my work good is the motive, as to the Lord, not to men. So the two things that make my work good in the sight of the Lord, for which he will render me a reward, are, do I do my work with a good attitude, with friendly, helpful, cooperative feelings? And is my motive to be pleasing to the Lord, as unto the Lord and not to men? Ultimately, I'm not seeking to please my boss. I'm seeking to please the Lord, and I'm doing the work that I've been given to do as if it's from the Lord, as if it's been appointed by the Lord. And that really encouraged me, because I think it's easy to diminish or despise the work that we spend so much time doing. If you think about it, what percentage of our lives do we spend working? I don't know. I haven't done a calculation, but call it anything over, 25% is a lot of time. I'm pretty sure I spend more than 25% of my time working. And what a bummer to think that something I spend so much time doing is off the books, so to speak. It's irrelevant, has nothing to do with my life with the Lord. That would be incredibly discouraging. So this is a word of liberation for me, that this thing which the Lord has given me to do, even my secular employment, even though it may seem less important than other things, other priorities I have, yet it's possible that if I do it with a good attitude and with a good, pure motive, the Lord will render a reward on that final day. It says he'll receive back from the Lord. And last thing I wanted to mention is that I was blessed to see the verses in the context here that follow, because I read the passage on the armor of God in isolation. If you think about where the passage that concerns the armor of God, putting on the full armor of God, what is it for? I was blessed to see that it follows the Holy Spirit's exhortation to do good, pure, good attitude work with a pure motive in my secular job. He says, finally, verse 10, be strong in the Lord and the strength of his might. And I took that to mean God will help you have a good attitude. He will help you render service with friendly, helpful, cooperative feelings. Will you count on him? It says, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. Do you count on the Lord for a good attitude at work? I should. Put on the full armor of God so that you'll be able to stand firm against the schemes of the devil, which I take to mean, do you know the devil wants to get you to think that this time is out of bounds, that it's neither good nor evil. It's just something that you got to put up with on the way to the point. Put on the full armor of God, knowing that you want to be aware of his schemes. And it says, our struggle is not against flesh and blood. That's what it says in verse 12. And what I take that to mean is your boss isn't the enemy. He's talking to slaves, even if you have, a wicked master. Our struggle isn't with flesh and blood. Workers, don't think that your boss with a bad attitude is the enemy. Your attitude of entitlement is the enemy. Your struggle is not with flesh and blood. It's with your self-life. Your selfishness is the enemy. And then it says further in verse 13, therefore, take up the full armor of God so that you will be able to resist in the evil day, and having done everything, to stand firm. Which I take to mean, make sure to avail yourself of all of God's strength for this battle with your flesh, which may be inflamed by your work conditions. You need God's strength. You need the full armor of God to go to work, and he gladly gives it. And it was encouraging to me to see that. It's easy to think about the armor of God as it's for some other part of my life. And I really liked and appreciated seeing that's for my work. I need the armor of God for my work. I need to be strong in the Lord and the strength of his might, to have something as simple sounding as a friendly feeling. I can't do that myself. I have to be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. And it's not that I'm working up some friendly, cooperative, it's not a matter of self-talk. Come on, you can be friendly today, man. You can be nice today, man. It's being strong in the Lord and the strength of his might. And it's interesting how the passage regarding the family and regarding work life at the beginning of this passage in Ephesians 5, it says, be filled with the Holy Spirit. And I see that's what I need. I need to be filled with the Holy Spirit. if I want to do good work that honors the Lord, for which he is pleased to receive, to give a reward for it, I need to be filled with the Holy Spirit, and I need to take it seriously to put on the armor of God. So I'm thankful for this passage. Thankful that it's possible that the work can be redeemed. Even secular, seemingly unimportant responsibilities can be redeemed for eternal blessing. And I want to count on the Lord for more, and I want to trust him for more, and I want to seek him for more. That it's possible to be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. I want to remember that even though I'm interacting with flesh and blood a lot, ultimately the passions that are inflamed in me in various circumstances are the enemy. And I need to take up the full armor of God so that I'll be able to resist in the midst of the evil day, even when the evil day is simple, seemingly trivial work conditions. So thank God for that. Hope that's encouraging to you all as you think about going to work the rest of the week as well. God has a purpose for it. He has a reward for those who do their work with friendly, helpful, cooperative feelings as unto him. I want to believe him for that and expect more in my work days.